Sweet. The bingo call was fun. I know a handful of you guys are on there. That wrap-up call is fun. I think the whole game was fun. I feel like bingo is one of my favorites of the year. Spring clean out is like I need a every month clean out at my house. I like the people who are really good about doing clean out because they're like, they've got it in their routine. Like they regularly get rid of stuff. I think that's the name of the game is like, make sure you regularly are getting less stuff. There's Molly. All right, we're going to get started in like 1 minute. Every month is a great idea. I can't do prizes every month, but I think everybody should do every month, some version of it or something. But sweet. Well, congrats to those of you guys who did participate in the bingo challenge. If you didn't, it's always available to you. You can just snag that bingo card and knock it out. If you want to talk to your coach. For those of you who did take the chaos calculator quiz. So again, like I know some of you did participate in the bingo game and we did a chaos calculator quiz. And you will actually be invited to a workshop based off of your score. And so again, these are free workshops. These are for everybody, but even Fitme clients are going to be invited to those. And so if you want to come, just let your coach know that you plan on doing that so that they know that you're getting some supplemental information. It's nothing new that you guys haven't been told about. Most of that stuff is going to be, for people who really haven't been introduced to a lot of our Fitme stuff, aren't working with a coach, but there's always going to be benefit from attending it. So feel free to attend. You'll be invited if you did do that chaos calculator. And yeah, so I think that's it from an announcement standpoint. Molly, there's no other announcements this week, right? I didn't want to miss one. Okay. No announcement. She says no. So next week is a pre-recorded call. And then the rest of the month of May will be live until Memorial Day weekend, which will be also pre-recorded. And so next weekend is pre-recorded. You guys will get that sent out in your app, and then a couple weeks of live, and then we'll have a pre-recorded on Memorial Day. So tonight, I actually want to talk about the chaos calculator quiz. Kind of made me think about our Fitme assessment. And I wanted to talk about it because whether or not you're new to Fitme or you've been around for a while, or you've been around for multiple years, this assessment is something that is a really powerful tool that you have in your toolbox. So most of the time in like the fitness and nutrition space, people are only measuring a couple of things, right? Scale, potentially pictures, like before and after pictures, sometimes strength stuff, right? Like if you're working with a strength coach, they might measure how much you can lift or how fast you can run or that kind of thing. So there's those kind of measurements, and those can be helpful. We certainly use those kind of things in Fitme too, but it doesn't capture the whole person. And so whether or not you realize it, we actually created the Fitme score to capture more about you, to give you more actionable paths forward. Because sometimes when we're like, oh, well, there's the scale and like, here's how my clothes fit and these are my numbers, it feels a little bit like, well, what do I do? There's about 700 million options of what I could do to address those things. But our Fitme score, and each of you have a Fitme score, is unique because it gives you a path forward. And that's part of what your map your year call is. So your map your year call is that first look at the Fitme score, and then looking how over the course of 12 months, how we will progress you forward. Because what we've learned in Fitme is a couple of things. And I think it's important to return to this, which is why we're talking about it right now. If you become confident about how to do something, you have confidence in it, that's sort of like step one. But with a big underscore but, information is not the same as knowledge, right? So I heard that quote in a book I was reading this weekend. So you have all of the information that you could ever want right at your fingertips with your phone and the internet. You have access to every piece of information out there, but that is not quite the same as knowledge. Knowledge is almost more of like incorporating that information or some piece of that into your actual universe. That is what we are talking about when we're talking about confidence. It's not just like, do I know how to make a healthy dinner? It's like, do I have a healthy dinner that I'm actually able to create for my family that we like and is in my regular rotation? Do I feel confident about that? It's almost like the knowledge piece, right? It's not just having the information. It's feeling confident that you can use that information in your real life. That's what confidence is. So I want to define that for you because you might have not even realized it when you took your Fitme score. What does that actually mean? Because most of the time we're just thinking, do I know it? Like, do I know how to do strength training? Am I confident on how to do strength training? Well, that's like, do I have the information? You guys could all look that up right now. How do I get stronger? Google it. That is not the same thing as feeling confident about how to do strength training, right? Because if you have confidence on how to do strength training, you're actually much more aware of what level you're at, how many days a week you need to do it, what equipment you need. You feel confident that you could incorporate strength training into your life. That's what confidence means. So as you think about your Fitme score, and you could always go back to it and think about that, like, I wonder how I can improve my confidence in each of these areas. How do I build a healthy and balanced breakfast? How do I build a healthy and balanced lunch? Do I know how to do portion sizes? Again, information, you can portion size Google right now. That's not the same as feeling confident in how to do portion sizes for you. That's what we're talking about. Are you confident that you understand what portion sizes you need? Are you confident that you understand how to move your body for at least 30 minutes a day? There's lots of ways to do it, but are you confident in how to do that for you? Those are some of the things that as you're going from week to week to week with your coach, that you can actually get faster to the results that you want. And for most people, those results, those like the big goals that you set out for are typically something around weight loss, getting stronger, feeling more confident in your clothes, having more energy, having a better body composition, improving health markers, having more energy to play with your family, feeling, confident and capable to do things like hikes and all that stuff. So those are like the kind of goals that most of you have. So how do you get to those goals? We start to address the things in the Fitme score. And so again, do you feel confident in each of those areas? Now you understand what confidence means. It's not just having the information, it's how does it apply to your real life? Then now that we know that, and I say, okay, I do know what portion sizes I need, or I do know, what kind of strength training I should be doing and how it should look for me. Like I've got that piece, I'm confident. Now we have to create consistency, because consistency was the other piece that you rated for yourself in your Fitme score. How consistently are you eating a healthy and balanced breakfast? How consistently are you strength training? Are you doing it 0 times? Are you doing it 7 days a week? How consistent are you in each of these things? And then you can put those two pieces together. You know what to do. And then you start to tackle strategies for how to create consistency. And sometimes those strategies can be snap your fingers helpful. Like, man, your coach gives you something, you're like, wow, that's all I needed to know. That really made a big difference. Other times it's like a peel back the layers of the onion puzzle. And it can depend. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong. It just might mean that you have to try and learn and then troubleshoot and then try again and then learn and troubleshoot. So it might not be as simple as like, oh, well, I'll just go to the gym 3 times a week. I'll be consistent, because then you might create a strategy around that. Hey, I got to leave work on time. I've got to get a sitter. I've got to whatever, move dinner a little bit later. And then you go in to put that into action and it didn't work out the way you planned. So then you need to go back to your coach and say, like, I tried this, but this is where I ran into problems. I'm still not hitting my 3 days a week. I only got 1 day. So then you're troubleshooting, right? Because you have to create that consistency. That's that second piece of the puzzle. But then how are you going to do it? This is the entire game. This is the entire game to creating the results that you want in any category, by the way, not just in fitness and nutrition, but learning what to do and how to actually apply it and then doing it consistently. That's it. That's how you get to what you want. And so if what you want, and again, I kind of hit like the kinds of goals that we have, those kind of goals, this is the exact same thing. You have to create that confidence, and then you have to create this consistency. And those are really what you're working on with your coach. Because once you start to be consistent, doing the right things that your body needs, then the results start to speed up. Until then, we actually have to put those pieces together first. And so that's why we do the Fitme score immediately when you join Fitme so that we can identify the pieces that really you need to address your focus on first. And there might be already places that you got it together, which is awesome because you got that skill set in one spot. And so if you haven't returned to your Fitme score in a while, I want to challenge you, to talk to your coach about it. And now that you kind of have a different reference around why we do it and what it means, remember, like at your 6-month check-in or your 12-month check-in, you take that assessment again. That's what we're measuring, is have those things changed. And in the mindset and body image category, those are a little bit different because you're sort of checking in with how you're feeling, but how you feel matters. And it's not something as simple as like, I want to improve my body image. Well, we all want to do that, but how do we actually measure that? That component of the Fitme score is how we measure that, because you're not going to snap your fingers and feel perfectly happily ever after, confident in your skin every day for the rest of your life. That's not even a thing. But if every day, all day, you're obsessed with losing weight when you start with Fitme and it's just sucking the joy out of your days, and then you make some really quality progress for yourself, you start to feel a lot better about the things that you're doing, and that goes away a lot. You start to feel relief. And maybe it's only like one day a week now that you even think about that. Or maybe it's just, random bad day. It's not even very often. Then you have made progress in that category, and we wouldn't be able to measure that without the Fitme score. And so you guys all have something really unique, a tool at your fingertips to give you paths forward. And so just use it as this anchor with your coach of like, if you're stumped, because this happens, I've had coaching for years in lots of different categories. And some weeks you're like, I don't know, everything seems pretty good. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing this week. Just kind of do the same thing, return to that assessment and be like, well, what's the next piece on here to tackle? And that's going to help you. That's going to help you continue to move forward and really take advantage of every time that you can make that little like 1% increment forward. I talked about that on the bingo call today, that sometimes we're like, oh, I got to do all the things. But really, if we're just making like a little 1% increment forward each time, then we're making progress, because that adds up. So with that, I'd love to open it up for like either questions, comments, thoughts on your Fitme score, on the assessment, or on this whole concept of confidence and consistency. Everybody's been so quiet lately. It's like, it's not bad. It's just funny to me. We normally have like big thoughts or questions. And lately everybody's like, yep, that sounds right. Good to go with it. I'm giving people unmute chance. I don't know if Molly's trying to unmute. Your head just keeps flipping upside down.
Dear Lord, I've only been using Zoom like 24/7 for what, 5 years now?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's interesting. And it's interesting how you and I kind of see this from two different ways. As far as it always feels like to me, as I increase consistency, my confidence increases, because it's like, oh, I can do this, so like the more consistent I am, the more, I don't know, I'm not as anxious about things, and then tell me again, because we've only had this conversation 400 times, how you see it. You see it from the other way, that increasing confidence increases consistency.
Yeah, I think it can be a loop, because we can be consistent. In my mind, we can be consistent with the wrong things. And so if we're consistent with the wrong thing, it's almost like driving your car in the wrong direction. Like you're still driving. You're like, I'm doing it. I'm putting the foot on the gas, but you could end up like, if you're trying to leave Colorado, you could end up in Maryland instead of California, and you're still being consistent. You're still driving consistently. And so that's why in my mind, I often think about the confidence first, to make sure we're pointed in the right direction, that we've got clarity on what we're supposed to do and how to apply it to our specific goals. And then we add the consistency of doing those things onto it. But I do think it's a loop, because once you are doing it consistently, well, then you're actually empowered to learn how to do something better. So I've talked about this kind of before, in that, you could say like, well, I don't know how to cook a healthy vegetable for dinner. And we can talk about it all day long, but till you give it a go, then it's not going to matter. And then once you're starting to cook them regularly, well, then all of a sudden we can circle back around and like add an element to it or make it, you know, better or more interesting, or like try it this way or store it this way or try this new prep method. But all of those things are kind of irrelevant until you've like tackled the initial confidence and like started doing it. And then you circle back around. So I think we're both probably right, Molly. I feel like the consistency does breed confidence, because when the more you do it, the more you understand about that path forward and the more application and tweaks you can make it for your real life. And you can't do that without doing the repetitions, but you could also be pointed in the wrong direction. So I feel like you kind of got to know where to go. I think we're both right.
No, I like how you're talking about like the loop aspect, because they definitely both like feed each other. You know, it's like a positive snowball effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did some podcasts recently on a negative feedback loop, and how we can shift it to make a positive feedback loop, because they really do, like, a lot of things tend to feed into each other. And the more we're in motion, I think that's probably, you know, the unsaid piece of this conversation is like, talk doesn't really mean anything. We actually have to be doing something in order for any of this to matter, because we're not building confidence or consistency if we're not taking action. And everybody generally, when it comes to that action thing, they're like, well, we always have a reason why the action can wait. Even when you're like in the middle, we always are like, well, I'm going to work on that dinner thing soon, but not yet, because I got family coming in town. We're going on travel. I've got 17 things for work. Even when we're already like in Fitme and we've committed to our goals, we still tend to put the action off. But I just want to challenge you that, like, whatever you've got going on that week, you can still do something towards your goals. And again, maybe it's just learning how to eat on travel. Maybe it's learning how to, you know, cook a different kind of meal for people when they come and stay at your house. Like, there's so many opportunities in these challenges if we look at it that way. Rather than as a reason to wait, we look at it as a reason to learn. What we don't have to do is be like, well, I guess I can't eat with my family because gotta eat my own thing. Like, that's not real life, you know, and that's not what we're asking or challenging you to do. Any other thoughts or questions before we wrap up? If it's been a minute and you're like, I don't even know what my Fitme score is, I forget, reach out to your coach and ask. They will pull it for you, your most recent one, and share it with you, and you guys can talk about it. Again, this is a tool and a resource that you have at your disposal. And if you're like, I'd like to take that assessment again, it might be time. Cool, guys. Well, it's great seeing your faces. Again, next week's pre-recorded, so I won't see you live. But if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope this was helpful and kind of giving you something to think about regarding your Fitme score and around how to achieve the results that you're looking for, sort of like more clarity on that path forward. And let us know if you need anything. Cool, guys. Have a great night. Take care.